Hello and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a lovely summer recipe. I'm going to be doing a rhubarb and custard cake. Oh yes, so stick around while I show you how it's done.
Here we are in my garden and let's go and see if we can see if there's any rhubarb. Now I don't want the one on that side, it's massive, yes, but I don't want that one because that's quite green. I want a pretty coloured one. And this one here is fairly prettily coloured, as you can see. It's let's have a look. If I pop you down there, you might be able to see. There you go. See now, can't we? So if I here and get a couple of stalks, there's a nice big one. And pop that there. And that one, twist and pull if I can. Maybe not. There we go. Two. I'll get one more for good luck. One more. There we go. So we've got 3 big pieces that we need. And off we pop.
So I've washed my rhubarb. I'm going to cut it now into chunks. Okay, so I'm going to just chop the ends off if I can. Not very strong today, am I? And I'm going to cut this, I'll do it one by one, otherwise I'll be here all day, into about inch long chunks. Because I want this to keep some shape. And if you're like me, when I was a girl, when I was a lass, you would eat it with a bowl of sugar. Roughly about 3 stalks of rhubarb. And given the prices for rhubarb these days, if you like it, it's so much worth it putting it in your garden. And don't eat the bottom bit, by the way, this bit here. Nor the leaves. Leaves are poisonous, the bottom bit is just horrible, and the bit in the middle is the bit you want. Okay, so we've sliced our rhubarb, and to that I'm going to add the juice of half an orange. Right, I'll put this on to cook for about 10-15 minutes until it's nice and soft, and then we're going to put some sugar in it, stir it gently, and leave it to cool. So this is my rhubarb. It's been cooking for about 5-10 minutes and it looks ready to put some sugar in. So I've got some caster sugar here, which I'm going to put in. Now, the thing with putting sugar in rhubarb is very sour. So it's a case of put it in, whatever you think, give it a little taste, do it again until you're right on what you want. So I'm going to put 2 dessert spoons in at the moment. And I'm going to just turn it over gently. Put another one in and then we'll see what it's like. So that's 3 spoons of sugar at the minute. I also want to put in just a little bit of corn flour. You don't need a lot of corn flour, about half a tablespoon maybe. And we're going to work it slowly into this and hopefully end up with a nice syrupy concoction. As you can see, it's gone nice and syrupy, so I'm going to taste it, and I would say that's bang on. To start off, I've got 240 grams of caster sugar and 240 grams of margarine spread, whatever you want it to be, in my mixer, and I'm going to set it off and let it cream till it's light and fluffy. When I switch on. So I've made this lovely light and fluffy. What I'm going to do now is scrape down the sides and add some eggs. I'm going to add 4 large eggs in total. Now, as I've said before, you can use margarine, plant spread, butter, any spread that you would use for putting on your bread. Generally you could use in this recipe. I find if you use all butter that your cake tends to be, well, richer for one but denser, denser for another, so just be careful with that one. So I'm going to add 4 eggs in total, 4 large eggs in total. So in goes number 1. Hopefully without any shell. There we go. Pop that down and mix that in. As I've said in many of my cake recipes, you can't overmix at this stage. The only time you really can overmix is when you're putting flour in there. Number 2. Ooh, that didn't sound good. Down it goes. And let's give it hell. Okay, once it's all mixed in, it's time to add our vanilla extract or vanilla essence, whichever you want. So we need about 2 teaspoons, that's 1, 2. You can never have enough of this stuff in my opinion. You can leave it out if you so wish. Okay, now that that's done, what we need to do is take out our paddle. Don't worry if your cake mixture looks a bit curdled. It'll come back together when we add the flour. And my next ingredients are going to be flour and good old bird's custard powder. So I'm going to sieve in, first of all, the custard powder, which there is 50 grams of here. 50 grams of custard powder going in. And we're going to stir that in gently, fold it in. What we're going to do next is sieve in our flour, and we've got 250 grams of self-raising flour going in. And just gently sieve it in, get rid of all those lumps and everything. And we're going to fold that in gently. When you've got it mixed in and you can't see any more flour, don't be too heavy-handed with it. We're going to take 90 grams of buttermilk and pop that in. This is just to keep it moist, and it'll help it as well with, it'll react with baking powder in the self-raising flour, and it'll cause your cake to rise, which is great. Okay, that's our cake mixed in. Now is pop it into some baking tins. Now these are 8-inch ready prepared baking tins. And we're going to spread these equally throughout the baking tins. Now I always do this with a scale, and just make sure you get everything out your bowl. You don't want to leave anything behind. Spread them out with a palette knife and start from the middle and work towards the outside, just so you get an even distribution of your batter throughout your cake tin. Put them in the oven, gas mark 4, for approximately 30 minutes. So taking my rhubarb compote that I made earlier, I've taken my cake out of its tin and I've laid it on a piece of greaseproof paper, and I'm going to spoon my rhubarb mixture onto my cake. So we've got our custard cake underneath and we've got our rhubarb compote on the top, and we're just going to spread it out so it's a nice even layer on top, and hopefully it'll taste good when it's finished. Right to the edges, guys. Why right to the edges? Because you eat with your eyes more than you do with anything else. You get a glimpse of what's inside if it's right to the edge. So that's my rhubarb done. So to make my icing, I've got 150 grams of spread. It can be unsalted butter, plant-based spread, whatever you're used to. A teaspoon of vanilla extract, 50 grams of custard powder, and 250 grams of icing sugar. And I'm going to whip them together until they are nice and light and fluffy. Now, because of the icing powder, I'm starting low, or not low enough as the case may be. Let's just put a tea towel over there, I think. Okay, so I've stopped the machine, and as you can see, it's quite dry at the moment. So I'm going to add a couple of tablespoons of milk. Now, depending on your milk and depending on your mixer, it may take more, it may take less, but we're going to add 2 for now. And if it needs any more, we'll do it as we go. There we go, that looks better. That's a lovely custard colour.
Right, I'm just going to scrape down the spatula because it's looking like it's clumping on it. So as you can see there, so I'm gonna, you can't really tell on the camera there, but this is an amazing creamy orange colour. It's lovely, it looks just like bird's custard. Okay, so we'll pop that back down. Oops, wrong one. That one. And we'll keep going. This is my icing. It looks quite loose. I'm going to ice our cake with it. That's just the right consistency, that is. Just making sure that all the ingredients are incorporated into the buttercream, because it has an awful habit, custard powder, of settling in places. Okay, here's the top of my cake, and what I'm going to do is put the icing on the other side and then pop it on, and it'll be able to move a bit more then. As you can see, this comes away from here really easily. So I've placed a load of buttercream in the middle of my cake, and I'm just going to spread it out. Now, the thing with buttercream is it is very sweet, well, icing is generally, which is, it's good that we've got the rhubarb to counteract it. However, you don't want to be putting too much in the middle of your cake because it can be overpowering. You want to taste it, but you don't want to overpower it. Now, you can, if you want, pipe it on to the top as well. I am no piper, I'm afraid. My icing skills are zero. So that's that bit done. So next we need to pop this onto the top of here, and we're going to pop. Okay, here we go. I'm going to put some on the top. I am no artist. Ooh, see what I mean? Not very good at this, am I? So if I push it out, oh, that's better. And keep going. Cover up that little mess I made on the top there. There we go. That's about as good as it's going to get from me, I'm afraid, guys. I've got a little bit of the rhubarb left, so what I'm going to do is just drizzle the sauce on top. Just whatever's left can go on top in little bits. I'm going to call it arty, okay? Let's get a skewer and just pull it through. If it'll work, maybe not. Yeah, don't give up the day job, Liz. And there you have my rhubarb and custard cake. Enjoy.